My hair looks like shit. I don't really care. I don't care. I really don't care. It's been a minute. It has been a minute since I've done any recording, and I've had some really interesting conversations with a few people recently, which has just reminded me of the whole reason why I haven't been recording. So I thought that it'd be an interesting place to start. So I have a full-time job, and I was struggling to be able to balance making content consistently and working my full-time job, as well as, going to the gym, keeping up with the sauna, meal prep, having a social life, and not getting burnt out and being overwhelmed and stuff. So I thought, right, well, what is the actual priority for right now? Well, I need somewhere to live and I need to eat food. So it was my job. So long story short, I decided that I was going to stop making content in order to put myself in a situation at work so that I had a better shift pattern so that I could then make content again. Hence, making content now, a little bit before that process is actually completed. So in 2 weeks' time, so today I'm recording this on the 18th of April 2025, from Sunday the 27th, so just over a week, I will be going on to a different shift pattern, which means that I'll be working slightly longer days, but I'll only have to work 4 days a week to get the same amount of money that I'm getting now working 5 days, which is obviously going to free up an additional extra day each week, so that I can then do content creation and not get overwhelmed and want to lay in bed all day and eat chocolate and cry myself to sleep. So I suppose this video is for me personally, is just recreating the momentum, and getting over a few bits that I had internally in terms of like, oh, this needs to be correct, and I'm still filming on the same laptop that I've been filming on forever. I'm also filming like next to my bed, sat on my little meditation stool, which is really comfy, by the way. Fancy one. I got one that's handmade. I don't know if it's actually handmade. It's probably the name of the company, and they use that as like some clever marketing tool. And I'm living in a house share at the moment. It's set up really well though, because so the kitchen is above me. I'm technically in like the cellar or the basement. I don't know where you're watching. But the houses next door to either side, I don't think that they use their basements or cellars for anything, really. I think the one that way does, but they're not in that much. That way is a window, so that's outside, hence the very nice natural light. That way, so that there is my door to get out. That is my bathroom. I've got my own bathroom en suite. I thought that that was really important. If I'm going to be having a shared house, I've got a garden there that I've kind of, in terms of like practical wise and ease of access, I'm the main person who uses that. There's nobody that walks through the garden, and that way is a basement or cellar. So I'm actually like pretty well set up in terms of privacy, and the rent price is really good. And that's, I suppose, the main thing that I want to talk about today is like feeding in with the reason why I've not been creating content is because I've not really had much to talk about, because of the fact that I've been, head down, thumbs up, working in order to put myself in a situation where I can make content, because that's what I want to do long term. Share, investigate, be curious, create, and I don't want to say inspire, because that's a little bit, but I think bring awareness to the part of life which a lot of people tend to not document and not share, because it's not sexy, it's not cool, it's not fun. Like, I haven't made it yet. Externally, you know, I'm actually very happy internally and content, but also with a very healthy mix of obsessive desire as well. You know, you've got to have a little cocktail of both, because I do believe you've got to be happy within yourself and be grateful, but also know that you want to move towards something. And that's what I've been doing. I've moved out of the living situation that I was in previously. So literally the last video that I recorded before this one a couple months ago. That living situation wasn't great, for a multitude of reasons. I had my own input on that dynamic as well. So decisions had to be made, choices were thought out. I moved, I'm closer to work, which again helps the whole being able to put time into work over these past couple of months. I'm close to a gym, I'm close to a sauna. I have like a decent amount of space over here that I can like stretch, do like my mobility stuff. Like, I've got room to meditate, I've got a beautiful comfy bed, there's a desk over there, but the lighting's a little bit shit, so I didn't want to film on that. I've got like loads of light coming in, I've got my own shower and toilet and bathroom space. So I think what I really needed to take from this short chapter of my life was that there are times when you need to know that there's, and this is me speaking to myself, there are times when you need to step back from what you want long term in order to become the person who can go and get it, you know? It's a little bit like you need to take, I don't know, like if you're wanting to play basketball at a really high level, you don't just walk into a high level basketball team and go for tryouts. I mean, you could do that to see where you are, and what you need to work on. But you don't walk in there expecting to just play, you know? You have to work on your technique, you have to work on your endurance, your strength, your like tactical side. You need to break the game down into its constituent parts, get clear on what your weaknesses are, work on those, integrate it back into a whole, and then show up. And that's what I've done in terms of my game that I'm wanting to play. Is I want to invest. I want to be involved in making money through means which are fun and enjoyable. And I like conversations. I like exploring ideas. I like sharing. I enjoy the thought of people being able to learn from my life experience, just simply because I've learned so much through other people's life experiences. And it makes sense to be involved with a little fly. What is that? Let's see if I can get that. Do you want it? You need to get out, little dude. Come up here. Up top. Up, 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 up. There we go. Up, up. Keep going. Keep going. Up. Up, 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 up. Out, 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 out. Down, down. This is hilarious. Did we get out? No, that way. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That way. Oh my god. The window doesn't open wide enough. Come here, little buddy. Let me just guide you. There we go. I think we got you. Did we get you? No. Go on. Go on. There we go. Yes. Yes. Good deed done for the day. Right. So where were we? Yeah, you need to break it down into its constituent parts so that you can do that, and that's what I've been doing. by not recording. I've allowed myself to set up my working condition, my working environment, my job, so that I can then be free and have the energy to be able to record without it leading to overwhelm. And I think that's like, you know, doing the video without my hair being done. You know, like I woke up this morning, I sorted out a few things, I hydrated, I took the bins out, come downstairs, organised my washing because I had some washing drying overnight. I meditated, and then while I was meditating, I was, obviously stuff comes up. And I was remembering a conversation that I had with a good friend of mine a couple of nights ago, about like getting back into recording and not waiting for things to be perfect. And I was meditating, and it just was like, boom, you need to make a video today. Break that cycle of not doing the thing, even though things aren't exactly where you want them to be. And that's, the whole philosophy behind what I'm trying to embody at the minute is, don't worry about the small stuff, the whole 80-20 rule. And then I think on a deeper level than that, it's like really important to embody that, I'm wanting to create content. Ultimately, like the people that I want to make content for, and I'm not really too specific on this, but it's a starting point to give me a blueprint on the way that I create, is the people who need a little bit of direction or something to be inspired by, or I don't know, I don't like using that word, but I think that gaining, like what was really good for me, and this is the only thing that I can really base this off, was learning that people did a lot. Like it took somebody 10 years to get their overnight success, or they had to try 1,000 ways of doing something before the formula worked. Like, you tried 19 businesses and the 20th worked. You made 5,000 videos before one went viral. You made, 500,000 attempts at a throw, before it was good enough to be in the top 1%. And the way that I embody that, and it's a conscious thing that I have to remember, is by making videos that are on an old laptop, not in a studio, in a shared house, and I'm 29. Like when I've been actively creating businesses and working for myself and making investments and losing money and not getting clients and making mistakes and not getting any views and going on courses and finding out that I don't enjoy that line of work and going to different jobs for 13 years. And as a 16-year-old, when I left school with this wide-eyed, fresh look at the world and thought, yeah, I'm going to fucking go out and be a millionaire, like that, it's been a healthy process for me to realise what amount of work ethic, talent, and being able to create opportunity it takes to get there. Because now, when I get there, because it's never wavered, and I don't want to be a millionaire for like the looking at the bank. It's obviously like the freedom and the choices that come with it, because I don't want to become like 80 and be still working, with the way that the economy and stuff are going. But anyway, another conversation for another day. Is I went through that process of seeing those people and hearing those stories and being exposed to the realistic timeline that it takes, because that's like another whole side of the content that I want to create, is the ability to regulate yourself emotionally. Like, if you weren't brought up with super conscious, balanced caregivers, if you weren't brought up with, good role models, then you've got to find those people and model yourself on them and figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I want to try this for a few years. And then there's that whole like imposter syndrome. Am I enjoying this or am I just good at it kind of equation? And then balancing that with, you know, do you have any addictions? Are you struggling to find a partner? Is there something going on in your head which is making you self-sabotage or hold you back or procrastinate from doing the work that you need to do? Do you just sit and make notes endlessly about all of the ideas that you have, or do you actually fucking do it, you know? And navigating that while not having a North Star or someone to copy or follow from or get ideas from is really fucking difficult. So that's where I feel like I want to move towards in terms of making content, is being another, because I know there are a lot of people out there that do that, but you know, there's a lot of football teams and there's a lot of companies that make chocolate bars, but you know, there's enough room for all of us. And I enjoy it as well. It's like a form of sort of therapy. Being able to share my ideas and get them out helps me understand where I am. And it's also really fun to look back on like what I was talking about last year or 5 years ago, because it's like, fuck yeah, I actually wanted to do that, or oh, I'm really glad I didn't do that. You know, it's just fascinating, part of the human experience and all that sort of stuff. So that's where I want to sort of move towards, is bringing an awareness to the fact that there are multiple dimensions that go into this whole being a success or having a life which you are fulfilled by, being healthy in mind, body, and, you know, I don't want to get too woo-woo, but spirit, in terms of like, do you enjoy your life? You know, you've got a calm mind that can think clearly. You're not subject to emotional states. You don't overeat. You don't, you know, use drinking or party substances in order to feel good. You wake up and you have a life that you actually enjoy living, I think is the entire fucking point of all of this. You know, have a family if you want, you know, have a business or a career that you actually are enjoying. Or do you want to just have enough money to live on a beach and sip cocktails and smoke weed all day, you know, like whatever's up to you. And I think that's what I mean by the whole spiritual thing, is living a life that's meaningful for you. And again, if you don't have people around you from a young age that even are aware that you can live like that, it's very difficult to then move into being able to do that for yourself. So I just want to be another light or another candle in the room of people talking about stuff like that, sharing my experiences. One day, when I've got somewhere that's maybe a little bit more appropriate to like, do you want to come into my bedroom and talk on my laptop, bro? Sounds a little bit weird, but you know, I've got good friends that would be into that, because they know where I'm coming from and they know what I'm doing. So yeah, I suppose this video is just me dusting off my belt and putting my trousers on to go and do the work again. And it's just a quick update. I think it's interesting. It will be interesting to look back on these and see, I know, like my growth as a person. Because I'm learning so much all the time as a result of going through this process. Like, me and shit. Let me just check the time because I do have to go to work today. I've got some time. So like my calendar for the last couple of weeks has been horrendous. It's just so full of work, gym, work, sauna, work, shopping, work, meal prep, work, go and socialise. I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well, but the blue bit is me being at work. The green bits are like cooking, meal prep. The yellow bits are the gym and sauna, and then the red bits at the bottom is like go to bed. And normally I'm getting up at like 6 or 7 a.m, having a little bit of time to do whatever I need to do before work. Screen's gone off. Still recording. We are. Doing between 9 and 11 hours at work, coming home and just kind of chilling out a little bit, finishing work sometime between 8 and 9 p.m. and then kind of just resting and going to sleep for 11 to wake up and do it all again. But I'm like enjoying the process, you know. I'm not overwhelmed. I have been a little bit overwhelmed recently, but I've addressed that and become conscious to the stuff that was contributing towards me feeling like that. But it's enjoying the process, you know. I'm in that. I like to call it my rocky cutscene, you know. It's which is something that I learned from other people. You know, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm learning. I'm experiencing. I'm creating, and it's all moving me towards some future that I don't quite understand, but I've got agency, you know. I was in a living situation that I didn't like, so I changed it. I was in a working situation which wasn't optimal for what I want, so I changed it. I don't like the job that I'm in, truthfully. You know, it's a good job. I get paid all right. It lets me have the type of energy that I want, in terms of I'm not drained at the end of the day in the ways that I don't want to sacrifice. And that came through trial and error and experimenting. I'm qualified in a couple of different areas, but I don't want to work in those directly right now. So I'm not, and I'm not kind of killing myself about it either. It's, I think that's another big part of the puzzle, is being flexible on your approach, but fixed on the outcome that you want. So yeah, it's a progress, it's a process, and I am balls deep in that process right now, and I can't wait to just really keep sharing and growing and learning, and then being able to look back on it all when I'm like 65 and it's like, yo man, remember I was like 29 living in that fucking that room, gonna work full time, working like 50, 60 hours a week. You know, there's an element of trust in yourself that I think you have to build. You know, like I trust myself, the person that's sat here now, infinitely more than I trust my 16-year-old self. And I think that's the ultimate sort of gauge on how things are going, you know. Would you want to hang out with yourself as the person that you are now? Yes. Would you trust yourself to do something very important now? Yes. Are you making choices that the 5 years in the future version of you would be proud of? Yes. Keep going, you know. Times, what is it? Tough times don't last, but tough people do. I think that's true, but also realize that you can move yourself out of a tough situation without having to sit there as well. You know, I think that's where the experience comes in, and actually living through some tough times as well teaches you a lot. So yeah, that's it for today. I'm working on not rambling too much, so I'm gonna cut it. I hope everybody's doing well for the 3 people that watch. And yeah, I'm going to get ready, go to work, and then having actually a chill tonight. It's the 20th of April in a few days. So for the initiated people who know what that means, I'm going to have a nice day, a very nice day. And then I've got a week off from work, so I'm going to get a few pieces done. Just generally relax a little bit. This past sort of, what has it been, since like mid-February, so through mid-February, mid-March, mid-April, it's the 18th. So like for the past 3 months, I've been working consistently like 40, 50 hours minimum, on top of like learning extra stuff for work, and then all the other stuff as well. So it's been a bit of a busy chapter, but the work has been done, the cookies have been made, and it's given me that opportunity now to start and do what I actually want to do long term. So it's going to be well worth it. So yeah, if you're in a job that you don't like, either work your ass off to get out of it or go get a different job. You know, we have a lot of people at our place that complain about it, and it's like no one's forcing you to stay. You are more than welcome to go and find another job, or even just explore what's out there, because then that gives you the perspective of like how good you've actually got it. Sometimes you can get a little bit complacent. So yeah, peace and love, guys.